All right. I'm so glad. Hello, everybody, and welcome. It is so good to have you guys. This is the One Page Salon. It is the first virtual One Page Salon in the history of One Page Salon. So welcome to it. We are tonight being brought to you by the Writers League of Texas. Amy Gentry and Becca Oliver and I have been talking about this for a while. Of like, let's do a One Page Salon. For those of you guys who've never been to a One Page Salon, the basic idea is this. It's a gathering of creatives about once a month. And people read one page, often of a work in progress, maybe something that's just out, maybe something that they have never shared before. Read one page, and we all hang out together. We've been doing this in Austin for about 6 years. Most of the time we do it at the North Door, but right now, this is our North Door. We're in a virtual North Door. And those of you guys are here, thank you guys so much for spending some time. We've got an amazing lineup of writers who are going to be reading tonight. And for those of you guys, you're supporting Bookwoman tonight too, which you're going to find out a little more. That is such a great way. And whether you're able to donate money or you're just able to be here, in both cases, you are doing something specifically cool for independent bookstores. It is a weird, strange cul-de-sac of time that we're in right now. But doing things like this can really put a smile on people's faces. Supporting the smaller businesses that we love that have been supporting us for so long, reaching out and encouraging each other, and also just sharing some damn good art. And that's what we're going to be doing tonight. It should be a hell of a lot of fun. I've got some really disturbing questions. You've already heard Amanda share about the filth of her home. It really brings down your literary heroes like down a few notches. Like, you know, like, oh my God, that's where they live? I feel fine. So it's great. We're going to be talking in just a minute to Amy Gentry. Who's going to be telling us a little bit about Bookwoman and her experiences there and really shining a light on all the good things that happened there. But one of the traditions that we have at One Page Salon is we read a page by someone who could not be there, often because they died a century or so back. And that's the case in this case. We're going to read Walter Whitman. The reason being is it's been a tradition at the One Page Salon that every time we read at a new city or do an event at a new city or in a new location, there's a part of Walter Whitman's first introduction that he wrote to his initial printing of Leaves of Grass that is our one page. And it occurred to me that today we've got all the cities. So this is kind of a new chapter in a really wonderful way, and actually something I'm kind of excited about. I don't think we need to be looking for silver linings to the weirdness and strangeness of our times, but it is wild to see how humanity reinvents things, including the ways we gather and celebrate each other. So look at this. Here we have this huge, wonderful gathering, and that's a pretty cool thing that we were able to kind of face a hardship and find a new way of doing things. Okay, so for those of you guys who don't know, Walter Whitman, Leaves of Grass, self-published. Before he put it out, he wrote this rambling introduction. It's just all over the place. It's crazy. And what I mean is, like, it's not just ellipses. Like, there's like dot, 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 then there's dot, there's like 6 dots. He's just periods everywhere. There's dashes. He's just, what a nutty guy. Anyway, this is part of his introduction that I love, and for me, it's some of the best stuff ever written in the United States of America. This is what you shall do. Love the earth and sun and the animals. Despise riches. Give alms to everyone that asks. Stand up for the stupid and crazy. Devote your income and labor to others. Hate tyrants. Argue not concerning God. Have patience and indulgence towards the people. Take off your hat to nothing known or unknown, or to any man or number of men. Go freely with powerful and uneducated persons, and with the young, and with the mothers of families. Read these leaves in the open air every season of every year of your life. Re-examine all you have been told at school or church or in any book. Dismiss whatever insults your own soul. And your very flesh shall be a great poem. And you have the richest fluency, not only in its words, but in the silent lines of its lips and face, and between the lashes of your eyes, and in every motion and joint of your body. Dot, 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 dot. Walter Whitman, Leaves of Grass. Yes, snapping is appropriate. So I'm really excited. I hope you guys, as you can see, we all dressed up. This is because this is what writers wear. If you've seen us in different attire, that's because we're trying to not be recognized. So we kind of dress down to go out. But at home, when we're working, we wear stuff like this. I did realize that I got this cup of coffee. I was like, oh, I gotta get some coffee. And this is the cup of coffee, one of my favorite ones. My daughter made this mug, and I really love it. But it's awful for Skype or Zoom or anything, because I found out this because I was pitching a story idea. I was like, here's the story idea, and this happens. And I was, every now and then I was like talking, and I had my cup with me as a prop. And I was like, blah, 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 blah. And then it was like getting to the end of this dramatic story, and I was like, I hope you want to buy it, because at the end, the family has survived, and they did it. And I didn't understand, like I didn't, there was no joke at the end of this screenplay, but my cup says coffee makes me poop, which it does. With that, let's go ahead and introduce one of the co-hosts of this evening. I'm so excited that she's here, because she's such an awesome person. She's just one of my favorite writers, and I keep talking about her books all the time. Last Woman Standing was the last one, which is all about Austin and LA comedy. So I was looking for myself. I'm pretty sure I'm in there like 5 times. There was also Good Is Gone, which is a book that just thrilled me so much. And she just released the cover of her book coming out. Please give it up for Amy Gentry. Hi, Amy.
Hey!
Let's see. Can everyone see Amy? Yes, good.
Can you hear me too, I hope? Thanks so much for coming out tonight. Owen, thanks so much for hosting. Coffee makes us all poop, so just don't worry about it. It's okay.
Thank you.
So I'm going to try to keep it kind of short, because I'm not the main attraction here. That's these lovely authors that you see before you, who are going to read some of their new hot, fresh work. But I just wanted to say a few words about Bookwoman, which is why I'm here tonight. Hi, Susan. And Bookwoman has been kind of important to me, actually, in my life, long before I was an author, actually. I first walked into Bookwoman, actually, in, I think, 1998, when I was an undergrad at UT. I think I was taking Lisa Moore's Intro to Gender Studies class, probably. I was a little baby feminist, and I was just kind of reaching for words to say a lot of feelings that I had always had, but didn't know how to express. And I think that Bookwoman at that point was at 12th and Lamar, tucked away in that little strip center, and it felt like just tucked away enough to be like a little bit secret, maybe. And of course, it wasn't a secret, really. It had been around by that time for, I think, 23 years or so, which is older than I was at the time. I didn't know anything about the history of the store, or herstory, as they call it on their website. I didn't know that it was founded in 1975 by a collective of 13 women who included Susan Post, the current owner of the store. And they started out in Guadalupe in a little like lent or donated space, and eventually moved into Susan Post's home for a while, and then on to their other locations. I just knew that it felt simultaneously like discovering a new friend that you want to talk all night with, and talking to your favorite aunt. And asking the questions that you only feel safe asking to those women in your life that you're closest to. Questions like, where can I get a copy of Inga Muscio's Cunt? If you were a feminist in the 90s, you know what I'm talking about. You heard about this book from your coolest feminist friend, and you were too scared to go buy it at Book People or Bookstop, RIP, or wherever it was you got your books. And instead, you knew there was one place in town where you could go and not only look for Cunt on the shelves, but actually go up to the counter when you didn't see it there and ask for it. And I think of all the landmarks in my feminist journey, perhaps just asking for Cunt was what really tipped me over into being a feminist. So thank you, Susan Post and Bookwoman. That is not all. That is not all. Every feminist who's lived in Austin for any amount of time has this moment in their life. And a lot of other women do too, women who are much more vulnerable than I was as a 19-year-old. Women of marginalized communities have driven hours and hours to Bookwoman to locate mental health resources that are highly specific, help for domestic abuse situations, resources of all kinds. It's not just books that Susan sells, it's also a space that she holds, a safe space for all kinds of marginalized people to meet. She holds book clubs and discussion groups. And I know right now you're thinking, you know, bless your little feminist heart, 19-year-old Amy, for finding Bookwoman and buying, in addition to Cunt, Bell Hooks and Andrea Dworkin and a lot of other things that while I was like too ashamed to go up to the counter to ask for Cunt, yeah, I was working up the courage. I was pulling these other books off. But you know, you're right. You know, bless my little heart and bless Susan Post's little heart for running this store for well nigh 50 years now, and making a safe space for people of all stripes, including me, to explore the edges of their boundaries, learn, be educated, and eventually get involved in various kinds of activism and advocacy for women, children, families, and communities in need. Things have changed recently, as you know. Bookwoman is at 55th and Lamar. It has been for a little while. A lot of other things have changed for the worse. And the most vulnerable communities are more vulnerable than ever in our town. And here is the point where I want to talk about how when I went to that store in 1998, there were 120 feminist bookstores in the United States and Canada. And then let's see, before the pandemic, like maybe 10 years ago, that number was down to 14, I think, give or take, because of the general closure of independent bookstores, etc. Now, at our present moment, Bookwoman is one of, I believe, four self-proclaimed feminist bookstores in the nation, operating out of a storefront. And like every other small business right now, and especially bookstores, they're struggling. There's been a great outpouring of support, and we want to thank everybody who has supported them tonight so much for helping us to keep Bookwoman stores open. Definitely buy some books, buy some puzzles. Susan has been ordering in some extremely good looking puzzles to the store. And thank you so much for donating. When this quarantine is over, we're gonna need safe spaces to celebrate in and to mourn in, safe spaces to cry on each other's shoulders, and yes, safe spaces to buy books that we're scared to be seen with elsewhere, but that we need so desperately. So thank you so much for coming and helping us just keep all of that alive. Bookwoman doesn't just keep Austin weird, as the saying goes, they help keep Austin safe. Thank you.
Thank you. That was great. I think there's going to be a lot of, there's a lot of XOs going on for that, Amy. Thank you. Yeah, the perfect words, the perfect words.
Wish I could hug you. I'm feeling it.
Oh, you do it. You are. For those of you guys also who are out there watching and being here with us, remember too that at the bottom of your screen on a Zoom, there's a little thing for chat. And if you get on that chat, you have the wonderful sort of opportunity of being able to talk and have conversations. In fact, it's the one time during a reading when you can talk during the reading, and it's okay. So make sure that you get on there. And people are clapping. I think Mary suggested that XOs and XOs are our claps for tonight. That's so exciting. I totally, the Lisa Moore class, Jody, my wife, she studied with Lisa as well, and I remember that book, Cunt, and yeah, it's true. Like, we need places that are safe and dangerous, right? Like, Bookwoman is a great example of being like, hey, some of these ideas, some people are going to consider dangerous, and there's a safe place to go to explore those, and we definitely need places like that. Feeling great now. All right, so thanks again, everyone. I think it's time for our first reader of the night. Are you guys ready for that? Yeah, me too. I'm excited. the first reader, she has had a rather busy time. Oh, look at this. I think we're looking at Becca's emails here. I think is everyone else seeing that? Are we seeing Becca's emails? You're not seeing? I'm seeing Becca's emails. It's amazing. She's got a lot more relationships than I was aware of. Our first reader tonight, she has had a heck of a busy quarantine. The rest of us were just, managing emails from friends and family. She was also managing emails and phone calls from Reese Witherspoon, the New York Times. Her new book's bestseller. People are just so excited. She's all over the place. She just came virtually from Book People earlier today, where she was celebrating the release of her book, Jet Setters. It's the upteenth book from this writer, and every one of them is a gem. She's one of my favorite people to read. She's one of my favorite people to talk to. She's one of my favorite people to have read my stuff and give me thoughts. She's just a blessing to all of us here in Austin and beyond. Give up some clapping, snapping for Amanda Eyre Ward. There we go. Oh, there you are, Amanda. See, you don't come up to the stage. You're already there. It's not, the reveal isn't there, but.
Oh my gosh, that is such a nice introduction. And I feel the same way. I'm also so honored and thrilled to be here tonight because, as Owen and some of my friends here know, I don't like to leave my house because I'm an introvert. And now I can be at One Page Salon and home at the same time. So yes. Thank you for making my dream come true.
Yeah, I mean, we sent rats to your house in order to try and inspire you to leave. And even that didn't work.
Yeah, I just don't like to leave my house. I don't like to talk on the phone. But lucky for me, I have Owen in my back pocket and we can have lunch and talk about books and what we're working on. And what I'm going to read today is the first page of my new book, The Lifeguards, which Owen helped me plot out.
Oh, yes. Oh, good.
Where did we had soup, tortilla soup at
the Mexican restaurant down south.
Where my car broke down.
Yes.
I think so, yes.
And you know what?
Texican.
And it was during the last Austin health craze because we couldn't drink water at the time, if you remember. That was when...
That's right. We couldn't drink water. And I was driving to meet you for lunch and I parked to go into the Neiman Marcus outlet and my car died. So I called, and this is a true friend, I called Owen and I said, my car died outside this place called the Texican. And Owen said, see you there, let's have lunch. So we waited for the tow truck and talked about my book, The Lifeguards, or maybe one of your movies, I'm not sure. But I'm very honored to be here. Thank you for having me.
Well, Amanda, I don't know if you're aware of this, but one of the things, of course, of One Page Salon, one of the traditions is every presenter has to answer 3 questions. Are you ready for before you read, are you ready for your 3 questions?
I guess I better be.
Yeah. So, well, first of all, before I get to the questions, really quickly, the Jet Setters is doing great. Congratulations.
Thank you.
And it's so fun. And it's, you hit on the craze of cruise ships, which, I mean, everyone's right now wishes they were on a cruise ship.
And no one will ever be on one again.
But has it been kind of crazy? I mean, it's been wonderful to see press, but I mean, like, it's been so strange for all of our writers who have books out right now and having book events sort of made virtual and book tours made from their home. Has it been weird?
Yeah, I mean, it's bizarre and also something I've always dreamed of, to have people reading my stuff. So it's, I feel kind of like an asshole being happy right now, but I am.
Yeah.
Really, it's just unbelievable because yeah, it's my 7th or 8th book, and I've had a lot of books tank, and this one's doing well, and it feels really nice.
Man, you don't have to feel like an asshole. You're seeing you on the cover of the Chronicle. I don't know. For me, it was like, made me very, very, very happy.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, well, that wasn't actually one of your questions, Amanda. Your first question is actually, are you a rereader? Like, do you reread books? And if so, what is, like, during this quarantine time, what have you been rereading? Or what's the last thing you reread?
The answer is no. I don't reread anything.
Oh.
I read so much. So I have 3 kids and they're always around me. So I can never really watch anything that I'd want to watch other than nature movies. So I read a book a day or a book every 2 days, and I'm just always moving forward. Once in a while, I'll read Jesmyn Ward, Salvage the Bones, or Men We Reaped, because her sentences are so stunning that if I'm feeling like my sentences are not working, I'll go back and reread her and just inspired. So yeah.
That's a good answer then. That's a good answer. Okay, second question. What is one new skill that you've developed in this time of hunkering down? Something you weren't able to do before, but now you can.
Wow, that is a great question. At my son's high school Zoom, everyone was supposed to talk about what they want to take from the quarantine forward into their new life. And I said nothing, because it's not working for me. I don't really cook or what's a skill?
Rat killing? Rat killing would work?
Yeah, living with rats. Going to sleep knowing that there's rats in my house is a new skill.
I can't go to sleep, and I don't think I have rats, so I'm impressed.
I have some pills for you, so let me.
You can send those right over. That would, that's no problem. Okay, next, the third question. If you could send everyone, let's say in America, everyone in America would receive a book from you right now that you're like, this is my gift to you at this time in history, what would that book be?
That book would be Andrew Sean Greer's Less, because it is the most delightful book and it brought me so much joy. And I feel like we could all use a little joy right now.
I don't know that book. Can you tell me about it? Is it a novel?
It is a novel. I have it on my shelf. It won the Pulitzer 2 years ago, and he is one of my best friends, Andrew Sean Greer. And it's about a novelist, and he knows he has come to middle age without having had much success at all. And he accepts the man he loves is getting married to someone else. And so instead of attending the wedding, he accepts every crappy offer he's ever been offered for these pathetic prizes and sad teaching jobs. And he travels around the world bumbling, taking sleeping pills at the wrong time and bumbling into happiness. And it's just, the author, Andrew, is so smart, and it's hilarious, and it's just transportive. So Less by Andrew Sean Greer.
Oh, that's a great one. Okay, so you're going to read to us from the Lifeguards. This is a bit different than Jet Sitters, then, yes?
Yes, it is. It's Meg Gardner, my friend, said it's suburban noir.
I love it. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, if you're out there in the cyber world experiencing this, I want you to make, since we can't really make the noise, we can't fill a room with applause, I'm going to ask you to send out spiritual applause. Like there's an organ, it's right next to your heart, and it makes spiritual soul noises. Make it vibrate and send all that love into Amanda's world, driving out the rats and bringing in the joy. Ladies and gentlemen, Amanda Eyre Ward.
I'm going to start crying. That's so nice. All right, here's page 1 of the book I just started. Or actually, I've been working on it for a while, but this is page 1. Our boys were lifeguards, we told ourselves, and were surely safe. They knew CPR, had shown us their fanny packs filled with Band-Aids and plastic breathing tubes. Atticus, Bobcat, and Charlie, my son, had taken the course together, mornings at Barton Springs. We'd dropped them off at dawn, the Texas sun just starting to climb above the horizon, making the surface of the spring-fed swimming hole glitter red and orange. We'd said we'd walk Ladybird Lake together, or we'd Zumba, we'd stand up paddleboard or get into meditation. Instead, we waved to each other as we dropped the boys, went home to our own private lives. Our friendship was like that, solid, unbreakable, as safe as the neighborhood where we'd raised our sweet little kids, or so we thought. I checked my watch, 11:05. I stood and had just stepped out the front door when the boys showed up, wheeling into Sloan's driveway and throwing their bikes to the ground, loping toward me. Mom, said my Charlie. Honey, I said. Charlie's eyes were wide and terrified in the dim light of the Brownsons' front porch. His two best friends flanked him, boys I'd known since they were toddlers. We'd called them the Three Musketeers as we sipped Chardonnay on the deck and watched them run around my scrappy yard, brandishing wooden swords. All three boys breathed heavily. Mom, said my son. Sloane's son, Atticus, had his hands on his knees. He was gasping for air. Mom, said Charlie, there's a body on the greenbelt. A body on the greenbelt, I said, fear like a snake in my gut. What do you mean? We didn't do it, said Annette's son, whom we called Bobcat. Now a rising football star with a mean twist to his smile, I could still remember Bobcat as the 3-year-old in diapers clinging to my leg when I'd picked him up at Sun, Moon, Stars daycare. He'd asked Santa for a bobcat when he was little, and the nickname had stuck. On the front porch, the boys talked, and I listened. What choice did I have? I promised them I believed them.
Amanda, yeah.
I wanted to add, I also talked this through with Amy Gentry, who's here. She helped me lay out this twisty plot. So thank you all.
Yeah, the folks are in for a treat with this one. A dark, noirish, Austin treat. All right, I'm super excited. Amanda, I don't know if you're going to be sticking around, or you've been kind of events all day. You're going to be sticking around?
I'm going to log in and watch you all.
Okay, that sounds great. Amanda, thank you so much for being with us, and congratulations.
Thank you.
All right, let's see. Okay. Oh, I think we're all here now. All right, great. So that was our first reader, Amanda Eyre Ward. And just like all our readers, she has a book out right now, which is a really fun time in an author's life. Something, they've been working on for years. They've put all this heart and time and head into these books, and they come out to the world, and then they are stuck at home. So it can be a really difficult time. It can also be kind of a difficult time even on the financial aspect. I mean, a book wants to sell. That's really important, a part of the sort of nuts and bolts of a writer's career. So I do urge folks out there, if you're looking for something like a book right now, and if you do have the ability to buy something, support these writers. Go ahead and buy the books. They're all excellent writers, and they're all going to give you something that you need. Which leads us, by the way, before we get into our next writer, one of the traditions they have at the One Page Salon is that we name every One Page Salon. So all the writers, I'll just pick a little phrase from something that they say, and then that will be one of the possible titles of the One Page Salon. Becca, if you'll type this one in the chat so that everyone can remember as I say it. But I think for Amanda's, I got snake in my gut. Snake in my gut. Because I know that feeling quite a bit. There's quite a few mornings I wake up with a snake in my gut. It's also my favorite line from Toy Story. So I think it would be a great title for possibly tonight. Now, our next writer. We just got finished with April, which is National Poetry Month. And I often, when I'm in a place of confusion or insecurity or just uncertainty, I go to a place that celebrates confusion, that describes insecurity, and definitely makes space for uncertainty, and that is poetry. And today we have a wonderful poet. She teaches poetry at the Mishner Center. She's a winner of a Guggenheim. She's a Guggenheim fellow. She's had numerous books of poetry, but right now her newest book is a book-length lyrical essay on pain. Would you please snap your fingers in your home dwellings for Lisa Olstein? Hi, Lisa.
Hi there. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, you sound great.
Okay, good.
I'm going to spotlight you there. I guess I'm going to put me up there too. So let's see. All right. So Lisa, thank you so much. So this is your first book that's not poetry. Is that correct?
That is correct.
So tell me a little bit about it. Can you tell me about the book?
Yeah, it's a book-length lyric essay, so short, pretty quick chapters, but all one interconnected whole. And it's looking at the intersection of pain, perception, and language through the prism of migraine.
Oh my gosh, okay.
Yeah, so that maybe doesn't sound super fun, but I think of it in many ways as a bit of a romp. It explores or dialogues really with a really wide range of external sources, from the trial testimony of Joan of Arc to pre-Socratic philosophy to House MD and to the very sexy lyrics of Bob Seger that I misunderstood quite a bit as a child.
Wow. You just named all the ingredients that I like to put in a smoothie right there.
Yeah.
That sounds great, Lisa. I'm really excited about that. It does seem like a really beautiful time to be reading about that. I think a lot of us are kind of like thinking through pain and the role it plays, and maybe having the time to kind of take a closer look, as opposed to what we usually do is look away, unfortunately. So yeah, it seems like a good time for that.
Yeah, I think it gives us an opportunity. I sort of think of it as something that turns the volume up on being human.
Turns the volume up on being human. Damn it, that might be a title. Can I just write that down? That's so good. Okay, are you ready for your 3 questions, Lisa?
As ready as I'm ever going to be.
Okay, fantastic. So Lisa, first question, are you a rereader? And if so, what was the last thing that you reread?
I do reread, and the thing that I reread the most, the things that I reread the most are favorite poems. And most recently, I reread an Elizabeth Bishop poem named Little Exercise, which is this really beautiful short poem that is sort of like a mental exercise, clearly written to guide oneself out of a moment of angst or existential dread or anxiety by visualizing a storm that's occurring and describing it, and landing on the image of someone sleeping underneath a bridge while the storm rages around him, but imagining him as safe and undisturbed.
Wow. Oh, okay. That sounds beautiful. Okay, Elizabeth Bishop. A Little Exercise, is that the name of it?
Little Exercise, yeah.
Nice. Okay, next question. What is one new skill you have developed in this time of quarantine?
I can make caramel or caramel, depending on where you're from and how you like to pronounce it.
What?
Yeah.
I didn't know. I didn't know people can make. I thought you had to be an Oompa Loompa to make that. That's amazing.
There was a failure or two along the way, but I've been making a lot of, it's called Millionaire's shortbread. So it's like a plain shortbread, a layer of salted caramel, and then a chocolate ganache on top.
Oh my gosh, that does sound out of my pay bracket as far as that. Oh my gosh. Okay. Well, next time I quarantine, can I just hang out with you? Is that be all right? Because
I can leave it on the porch.
Okay. All right. Next question. If you could send one book to everyone in America right now, what would that book be?
Well, my friend Deb and I cut a deal. So I'm going to say her book and she's going to say mine. Is that cool?
No, that's cheating.
Okay.
I think it's great. I think both our books should be sent to everyone in America. I agree. This is what I'm saying is, after everyone gets your books, because we are doing that, by the way. We're sending everyone in America all your books tonight.
Yeah.
We can find is that right, Becca? Thanks. Becca's paying for that.
Yes.
Outside of that, though, Lisa, you have to choose another one.
I'm going to make 2 recommendations. One is a brand new book out last month by the wonderful prose writer Paul Lisicki, whose new book is called Later, My Life at the Edge of the World. And it is looking back and sort of time traveling back into his coming into himself and his identity and his life at the height of the AIDS crisis in Provincetown, Massachusetts, when that was going on in the early 90s when he moved there. I think he's a beautiful, beautiful writer if you don't already know his work. And it is not a book about this pandemic, but it's quite a thing to be reading this very generous, very beautiful recollection of vibrant living during a pandemic.
Yeah.
And then J.A. Baker's The Peregrine, which is a book I feel so possessive about because I love it so deeply that I both want to recommend it to everyone, and I also don't ever want anyone else to know about it because it's my special thing.
Yes, that's a beautiful book. Oh yeah. It's one of those ones. It's like when it was given to me, someone said, I'm not going to tell you anything. Just read it. Just read it. Yeah. Ah, that's great. So what will you be reading to us tonight, Lisa?
I'm going to read a new poem.
Oh, that's fantastic. Do you want to say anything about it, or how about I just introduce you first?
Sure.
So, ladies and gentlemen, I know you're out there, and why would you clap if you're just alone in your house? And these people can't hear you. I know that it doesn't seem, and maybe clapping is doing this or doing something different or whatever it is, but I think you should go ahead and do it. Make some noise in your home. We were still calling out to each other, and we should be doing that. We should yelp. We should make loud. I'm waking my neighbors up because that's how excited I am to hear a poem from Lisa Olstein.
Oh, and I hope this is recorded, and I'm gonna have that be my intro forevermore because nobody's ever that excited about a poem. Okay, this is called Apparent Winner, and it is some new work. Once the moon came close, brushed its rough cheek to your face, but before your eyes could adjust to the light spilling gas-like, it was retreating again into a more distant orbit. Is this where you go when you don't want to hear the news or what passes for its fevered breath? Did you earn this morning's calm? No, that's the medicine you took to stop the thoughts realistic enough, but impossible with which to sleep. A real-life boogeyman followed you last night, one woman, 2 children, down your own dark street. Later, something about the way, with her bare hands, the chef on TV caressed the naked inside of the slaughtered sow, made watching its body come apart into cuts all right, except for the head, because the line drawn in you is apparently the thoughts. I don't want to take another being's life force for my own if I don't need to, is what you said to your mother over the phone after communing with an aunt late on a different long ago night. You were beautifully high. All the neighborhood cats had come out to see you, but still you had to eat, and so you ate, and since you could, you ate well. Let's not make this about petty differences. Certain suffering limited your options. There's so much suffering. Sometimes you cause it. Sometimes you have no choice but to let it suckle at your breast, your pinky in a pinch. It's so hungry. Why are you such a bad person? Too often you find yourself wanting to say, also, I love you. The toddler wearing a leash designed to look like a backpack so his mother might feel less self-conscious has brought his horse figurines to see the horses in their muddy pasture on the other side of the soft-edged fence today. You watch them through the window of this country vet waiting room as a burly man carries his sick dog in, and you look for them again when he carries his dead dog out. But this time, all you count is vulture, vulture, sparrowhawk, until the tech taps your shoulder and says, you can take your cat.
Wow. Oh, jeez. Lisa, that was beautiful. Yeah, I hope you can hear the snaps. That was fantastic. Did you say it's a new poem? Is that a published poem? Is that out in the world right now?
Not yet.
Okay. Because that would be one I would like to, well, that would be one would be on my rereading list.
Thank you.
Most certainly. Are you going to stick with us for a while, Lisa? Are you going to?
Yeah, I'll stick with this as long as my connection lasts.
Okay, and no worries if you want to turn off the camera and just chill out. It's a lot. I think we're all getting a little bit of Zoom exhaustion and in watching our own faces.
Thank you.
So thank you so much, Lisa. That was wonderful. Okay, so we also have a second possible title for tonight. From Lisa's, I was just writing down different titles. I think I wrote down 17 possible titles from different things in Lisa's poem. But I ended up taking one which was just so simple and just sort of hit me a big way. Just also, I love you. I think it would be nice if tonight was in some way, if it's even in the running, that we title One Page Salon of May 2nd, 2020, Also I Love You. So that was beautiful. I think we're ready for our next reader. Are you guys ready? I can hear the anticipation in the room, and I think it's really exciting. So we have a debut writer, also has a new book out. He was a little unsure about this dressing up. He was like, wait, are we serious? What do you mean dressing up? But then shows up outdoing us all. Amazing the way he dressed. He is a writer. He is a teacher. He is a Kirkus reviewer of books. If he's reviewed any of my books, then we're gonna have issues because sometimes Kirkus likes me, but sometimes secrets. Sorry, secrets. And really excited about his new debut book. Trust me. Please give it up for Richard Z. Santos. Hey, Richard, how are you?
Hey, Owen, I'm great. I'm excited to be here.
You look great. You got to tell me a little bit about that tie. Like, where did that tie come from?
I believe it's a cravat. Not an ascot. Definitely not a normal tie. I think it's technically a cravat. And that's about all I know about it.
Isn't a cravat like something you get in like Brooklyn, and it's like a croissant and a donut mixed together?
Yeah, with like espresso in the center.
Yeah. Well, it looks delicious.
The jewel is slowly hypnotizing everybody. I don't want to spoil, but it's happening.
But that's good. I think we could all deal. I mean, it's either Amanda's sleeping pills or your hypnotic cravat. Either one works great. You mentioned in our our green room, when we were in the green room, and you were talking that you're teaching via Zoom, teaching students. How's that going? I mean, I know for me as a parent, and I know other parents out there, oh, thank God, there's two saviors right now, and it's teachers and Disney Plus, and those are the two things that are getting us by. How's that going? How's it going up there?
There are definitely some frustrations. There's definitely some things that if we had more than a week to plan, we could be doing better, sort of nationally, I think. Yeah. But it's better than nothing, and it's good to see the students, and you can tell that they're really getting something out of it. I mean, my view as a teacher is like, I'm not going to stress out about the content as much as I want to provide kids with some structure to their day so that they've got stuff to do. And so, we're trying to take it easy. We're trying to have fun. You can tell when some of them get on, they're really excited just to talk and chat and see each other. So we're making it work.
Yeah, I gotta say, I mean, we're so grateful for teachers doing that on the fly, of inventing new ways of connection for our kids in different ways. It's been amazing. I every now and then just listen in on my kids' classes, and I'm finding myself amazingly grateful for what you guys are doing. So Richard, your thrillers come out. Trust me, so cool. I love the cover, by the way. I'm not sure. Yeah, it's so cool. Can you tell us a little bit about it?
Yeah, it's set in Santa Fe. It's got a big cast of characters. It's all built around a project. A land developer has bought some land from a Native American pueblo in order to build a major airport in Santa Fe, in northern New Mexico. And the project falls apart when a skeleton is found on the construction site, and it ensnares a whole bunch of people from there. We have a guy who shows up from the East Coast thinking he can make some money and quickly finds himself drowning and in over his head. We've got the developer's a character, his wife's a character. We have some local guys who are out of work. I don't know. I hope it's fun.
That is so cool. It's interesting, Richard, as you're talking, people in the chat who have read your book are already been like, so good. Oh, they're gushing. I mean, I don't know if that.
Thank you, Tony. That's exciting to read.
Yeah.
Tony's chat there, and Amy too, who's been so supportive.
Super excited. Okay, are you ready for your 3 questions?
I am.
Okay.
As long as you don't change them on me.
I've changed all of them.
I knew it.
One quick question, Richard. Do you know who at Kirkus has reviewed your book? Do you know? Did they tell you?
Who reviewed it? No.
Yeah, it's all a secret.
Those are state secrets, man.
State secrets. Okay. All right. Okay. First question. Are you a rereader? And if so, what was the last thing you reread?
I tend not to reread like entire books, but what I will do is when I'm slightly bored, when I'm feeling stuck on something I'm working on, I'll pull a favorite off and just read a couple pages, sort of remind myself, like, how do you write dialogue again? And I pull out like a Toni Morrison book, or like, what's the deal with setting? And I'll pull out whatever, a Robert Stone book or Louise Erdrich or something. So that's about how I do rereading usually.
That's great. Yeah, I do a lot of that too. Like, I just need to steal something. Let me just steal a little bit, mainly from like the people actually here tonight. I steal from them all the time, and it feeds my children. So thank you. And next question for you. What is one new skill that you've developed in this time of quarantine? Can you make caramel?
I cannot make caramel, but I haven't tried, so maybe we'll try that tonight, and we'll cause a fire in the in the kitchen. I've gotten into loose leaf tea, and that's why I wear a tuxedo all the time now.
Oh,
GT here in Austin can give you like a sampler pack, and bought a little infuser. When I called up to talk through my options, I was like, do y'all have those little spoons where you put it in the cup? And the guy was very nice on the phone, but he also basically laughed at me and was like, no, those don't work. We don't use those. And he explained how to properly do it.
Oh, I see. Those the spoon infusers don't work. You have to have like a dippy infuser. The
spoon it doesn't give the leaves enough space to really manifest themselves.
I see. It's like if you have a cult, you really need a ranch. You can't have an apartment cult.
No.
Because they don't have enough space.
No sheds.
Right? No. There's plenty of room in my shed. For me, the washer, the dryer, the possum's many babies. Okay, last question for you, Richard. If you could send a book to everyone in America right now, what would it be?
I just finished Mark Doty's new book, What is the Grass?
Yeah.
Which is about Walt Whitman. It's about his love for Whitman's poems.
Yeah.
It's about his own life. It's like biography, autobiography. It's criticism. It's spectacular.
Is it? Oh, okay. That's so good to hear. And that's the book you'd send to everybody, huh?
Yeah, it's beautiful. It's very wise. It's the kind of book where I read half a chapter or just a little section of a chapter, and I'm like, well, now I need to stop because that was really smart. And if I go too fast, it's not that kind of book.
I'm buying that book. I hope I can buy it through Bookwoman. Sorry, Bookwoman. I'm going to buy that book from Bookwoman tonight. Yeah. That's so good. I've been thinking a lot about Walt Whitman. I mean, of course, we read from him today, but I was like, Walt Whitman, he was writing before and after and during the Civil War. And sometimes I'm thinking like, gosh, America has never been more diverse and split and at war with itself than it is right now. Like, that's a stupid thing to say. We actually have a Civil War. And Whitman, Whitman in some ways was like, with it trying to heal. Like he was trying to, like that 1860 edition is like, come on, let's save America. I think he's like a really good person to be reading right now.
Yeah, it's great. I think you'd love it.
Okay, all right, I will get that. And I'm going. Like, yes, Amy's telling me order anything through Bookwoman. I'm just going to call Susan right now, if you don't mind.
Bookwoman is the only store that has signed copies of my book. Only place in the world where you can get one.
Bury the lead, Richard. Goodness gracious. Wow. Okay. Next question. Oh, that was the last question. If you could send a book to everyone in the world, that's great. Okay. So what are you going to be reading today?
I'm going to read not from the book, which you can buy signed from Bookwoman, but from another project, another novel called Graft versus Host.
Ooh.
And I don't think you need to know much. The main character had a stem cell transplant a few years before the book started. So he's kind of still in recovery. And it's set a few years in the future where people wear wearable technology called cuffs.
Oh, I'm into it. This is very exciting. So ladies and gentlemen, I know you're out there and you're watching, and maybe you're getting a little like, I don't know, Lion King, I could watch that, or Tiger King, I could watch that, or I could watch them both at the same time. Whatever you're doing right now, I want your heart to just start pumping extra loud, because here we have, with his debut book, reading not from the debut book, but from his next book. That's how bold he is. None other than Richard Santos. Give it up.
Thank you. Petey's sense of security in his new, frail body eroded and eroded until he hesitated to leave his apartment at all, which is why he laughed one morning when his brother's message lit up his cuff. Want to come over? Petey didn't even reply. He'd had an appointment with his hematologist that day, and making his way from his apartment to the shuttle downtown to the office, then back again, was enough to do him in on a strong day. Today was not one of those days. Petey wasn't 50 years old, but moved with a hesitant, herky-jerky jumps of someone twice that. He slipped off his cuff that night and sat at his table. The weight of the device, only a few ounces, was enough to leave splotchy, blood-colored bruises on his hollowed-out arms. Something as simple as banging his shin on a cabinet, rubbing it really, would leave a black and purple tapestry from knee to ankle and tear his tissue paper skin to shreds. He rubbed a hand over his forearm. His body felt wrong, stale. Soon he'd be like one of the assisted living folks, needing to wear his cuff on a chain around his neck. He unfolded the device and set it on the table, scrolling through apps, sites, image feeds, and games, well, the ones he could access without data, filled his evening until it was time for his sleeping pills. Nothing happened to Petey Alvarado that night. It was raining outside, seemed like it was always raining outside, and he never left his unit. No one came over. He went to bed, somewhat convinced he was developing a fever, but unsure where the thermometer was. He couldn't bother. Still, somehow, he missed his brother's call. His brother never called. Other than automated services reminding him of appointments or ordering him to pick up prescriptions, no one ever called. So even though he hated his brother, the rarity of the call would have compelled Petey to answer. The video message stayed on Petey's cuff for weeks before he watched it with a police detective. In the message, Petey's brother, Alvaro, looked tired. He wasn't at home, a nice house for hero cops somewhere in Austin's western suburbs. He looked like he was in a migrant camp somewhere near the highway. Canvas, scraps of plastic sheeting, dim lights. While Alvaro left his message, his screen was filled with Petey's profile picture, which had been taken before his leukemia. He was a different man then, and that's a man Alvaro looked in the eye and said, "Hey, brother, I think I need your help. Something happened and, yeah, I need your help." Then Alvaro opened his mouth, shut it again, and smiled. Petey would spend ages looking at the smile, never satisfied that he knew what it meant. If he had caught the call, looked his brother in the eye, heard him out, then maybe this would have a happy ending. But that's not what happened. Thank you.
Oh, geez. Richard. Oh man, that sounds really good. So this is going to be another thriller then.
Yeah, I think basically it'll be like a detective story kind of, except protagonist can barely walk and is very frail.
Yeah. Man, it is amazing. It's interesting how somebody, every now and then there's like, where every one-page salon, one of the cool things that happens is like this conversation of ideas, just because we put the ideas next to each other, and conversation of voices just because they happen to, for one night, share the shelf. But man, I just love the idea of you and Amy and just all these different writers together. Like it's cool. It's like it's a really beautiful salad of thought. I'm never going to use that expression, salad of thought, again. No, Mary's right. It's not, didn't work.
I get it. It's more of a stew of thought.
A stew of thought is better. A buffet, a golden corral of ideas.
Crab
It's
legs.
the lubies of theology. But that was great, Richard. I think for you, Richard, I had a bunch of different ones that I wrote down too. I was tempted as a possible title for the May 2nd, 2020 one-page salon as a possible title to be Time for Sleeping Pills, because it seemed that theme was developing. But actually, his brother's call got me. I don't know. Maybe it's because there's a lot of us that are hearing our brother's call. and our neighbors call, and our families call, and we're sort of wondering how to respond. And sometimes it's doing stuff like we're doing now, where we're supporting writers who have gotten new works out, and independent and small businesses that maybe need a helping hand in this time, and weren't as fast as Ruth Chris Steakhouse. Yeah, so thank you. That was great, Richard. I'm so excited. And once again, you can get all the writers' books, every one of them who are on here tonight, and Richard's signed copy of the Richard books, their books, from Bookwoman. Just check out Bookwoman's website, and that way you're supporting not only a writer, not only a cool bookstore, but your own intellect and soul. And oh, look at that.
You get Deb's book.
There's Deb's book. Good.
Amy's book.
Wow. One last thing, Richard. Can you just tilt if you can, your screen? I want to see the poster behind you.
Yeah, sure. Ready? There's a cat too.
Wow. It's a skeleton astronaut black. It's so much. There's a lot going on there.
A lot going on. Yeah, there's a lot going on.
That's really cool. That's really cool. Okay, Richard, thank you so much. Give it up for Richard, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you, Becca, Amy, everybody.
Okay, let's see. I hope you guys are enjoying this out there. You know, one of the things that we would love to hear as you're watching, and later on you can tell us via emails or on Facebook or anything. Becca has been the key person in organizing all this and putting it together, and is such an incredible human being for doing all that. And we would love to do more of these. So we're actually planning one for the first Saturday of next month as well, to join us again. So what are the things that you loved? What were the things that you didn't like? What were the things you wanted more of? What were the things you wanted less of? Let us know, because this is kind of a grand experiment, and that makes it really, really exciting, and it also makes it pliable. So yeah, it's a pliable world. Speaking of pliable, it's that time of the night where I get to pour myself a little bit of drinky. Yeah. Oh, I see. Richard's been, okay. It's out there. It's out there. Whiskey does not make me poop. For those of us just tuning in, you're wondering why I would say something like that, and I don't know. Okay. Oh, and Becca was saying what a great suggestion she asked in the chat room. Also suggestions of who we can raise money for. One of the great things that Becca and Amy were coming up for, like, this would be a great chance to support Bookwoman. For the next one, what would be another group that we could raise money for? Before we get on to talking to Becca, though, we will be talking to her in just a minute. I know Becca's going to be talking to us in just a minute. But next, we've got a writer that I'm so excited about. You know, you watch different writers who kind of, writers always having to like promote themselves in cool kind of fun ways with images and ideas and thoughts. I don't know a writer who puts up better, cooler images than this next one. Follow her on Twitter is always a thrill. Her voice is fantastic. She's hilarious. She's been a firefighter. She has been a construction worker. She has been a longtime badass in every kind of way. She's a writer, and her new book, The Roxy Letters, is getting all kinds of different praise. Would you please put your hands together for Mary Pauline Lowry? Hi, Mary.
Hi, can you hear me?
We can hear you. Yeah. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. I'm so excited to be here and in such great company, and I'm just having a delightful time. Yeah.
That's great. That is great. And those glasses are fantastic.
Well, thank you. I now am the owner of many heart-shaped glasses because they match the cover of my book. So I've been getting them as presents, which I quite enjoy.
Ah, that's great. Mary, where are you in the world right now?
So I was born and raised in Austin, Texas. I'm a fourth generation Austinite, but right now I live in Boise, Idaho. And last year I finished a Master of Fine Arts here at Boise State University.
Ah, congratulations. That's fantastic.
Thanks. It was really fun.
I can see that it's still daylight there, huh? Is it still light outside?
Yeah, here in the spring and summer, it stays light really late. It's only 8 here, but in the summer, it stays light until 10:30, 10:45 at night, which is kind of amazing.
Wow. How about that? Did you like that? Have you enjoyed that?
Yeah, it's fun. I mean, in the winter, it gets dark really early, but no, it is fun to be like out strolling around at 10, and it's like light out. It's lovely. Yeah, I like it.
Yeah. Can you tell us a little about the Roxy letters?
Sure. So the Roxy letters is written in letters from Roxy to her ex-boyfriend Everett, who's living with her and failing to pay his rent on time and just totally blocking her mojo. And Roxy is an Austin native. The book is set in 2012, and she works in the deli of the flagship Whole Foods back before the Amazon takeover, when Whole Foods was still sort of a local business. And she is really, like many Austinites, kind of bummed about the ways that the town is growing and changing. And when the Waterloo video closes, I know in real life it closed probably 2004, 2006, but in my book it closes in 2012. And she is hoping that a really worthy local business is going to move into that location, because she feels like, you know, Six and Lamar is for local businesses. So when she finds out that the Lululemon is moving in, she decides that like that's the thing she will not stand, and she is going to take action and protest. So that's kind of the premise of the book. And it's a funny book. I think it's funny.
Yeah, well, I have not read it yet, so Mary, but I'm really excited because the blurbs and the reviews have all been like raving about it. I mean, the Rufy Thorpe one, let's see, Tom Robbins meets Bridget Jones's Diary, eccentric, fun, delicious for the thinking woman who loves her vagina. It's amazing how many times vaginas have been referenced in tonight's one-page salon. I think it might be a record. I'm not sure.
But you know, when you're raising money for Bookwoman, I think it's only appropriate to be talking about vaginas.
I couldn't agree. I couldn't agree more. Okay, are you ready for your 3 questions?
Sure, yeah.
Cool. By the way, thank you, Mary Dilso, thank you for being here. Really appreciate it. And all right, so your first question, are you a rereader? And if so, what was the last thing you reread?
Yes, I am a big rereader. And the last thing that I reread was one of my all-time favorite books, A Confederacy of Dunces by John Kennedy Toole. And most y'all might know this story, but he wrote this book in the 60s and he could not get it published, and he committed suicide, I think partially because he was depressed about that. And his mother dragged his manuscript, this carbon smudged copy, around for 10 years, showing it to editors. And when editors saw this old lady coming saying like, will you read this really long, brilliant book by my dead son, you know, they weren't really excited to dig in. But she did eventually get it published, and it won the Pulitzer Prize in 1980. And it's just a hilarious book, and it's really, really rooted in place, set in New Orleans. And the protagonist, Ignatius, is just this like big fat bloviating guy who is living with his mother and has a lot to complain about. And it's just a delight. And I always love to reread it and see, you know, what is it about his humor that really stands the test of time. And Ignatius is just so outrageous. So this is my kind of go-to book to reread.
That's a great one. That is a great one to reread. Oh, okay. Next question. What is one new talent that you've developed in this time of quarantine?
So before quarantine, I was ready to go on a 16-city book tour.
Yeah.
And, you know, I had my outfits. I had like figured out how to pack a tiny suitcase. I was so excited. And then obviously my book tour got canceled. And so I had to shift gears. And the way that I'm promoting my book now is, one, doing online events with bookstores, but also I'm doing a lot of takeovers of accounts on Instagram. There are people that only post about books, and they're called bookstagrammers. So they let me take over their account and post videos answering people's questions about the Roxy letters. So I've learned how to do videos, and I've also learned how to do TikTok videos, which I can save and post in these Instagram stories. So I've been really sort of mastering my social media and getting more comfortable filming myself, which was not a skill that I had before all this started.
Yeah, well, I was going to say, like, I know your online game is strong. The fact that you're doing TikTok as well, I'm very impressed. TikTok terrifies me. Not exactly. For me, TikTok is only a reference to the movie Return to Oz.
Okay.
That's all I know. So that's fantastic. Okay, next question. If you could send one book to everyone in the United States right now, what would it be?
Okay, so I'm gonna cheat, and I'm just gonna, I know we're not supposed to promote anyone else's books here, but like I'm obsessed with Barn 8.
Yeah.
I'm a huge Deb fangirl. I've never met her in real life. I talk about this book all the time. It's fork and delightful, so I highly recommend that. But since I'm not supposed to recommend anyone reading with us, I am going to recommend the woman that blurbed my book. Her novel just came out. It was published by Knopf April 28th. It's called The Knockout Queen. And it's very funny, very, very dark, very brilliantly written. And yeah, I just can't recommend it enough. A novel about friendship and the ways that our loyalty to people can cause us to make bad choices. But I just really love it too.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, I think that's a good theme right now. I think there's a lot of Americans making bad choices in the name of what they call loyalty. Wow. Okay. So what are you going to read to us tonight?
Okay. So I am going to read from the Roxy letters. And one more thing I wanted to share. So I'm a former Book People employee, but I started going to Bookwoman in the early 90s. And I can't remember a time when, I mean, Bookwoman's been there since before I was born, but it's always been there for me. It's always been a place where I have gone, you know, in high school. It was such a refuge for me, and it's still just a place that I love. And so I'm so grateful to all y'all for supporting it. And oh, I wanted to say there's a mural of the book cover of the Roxy Letters at 7th and Lamar, just one block up from Book People. So if anybody wanted to check that out when you're out on a necessary drive, that would be fun. Today, I'm gonna just read, obviously, one page from the Roxy Letters, and it is the moment that I was describing when Roxy is about to find out what store is gonna replace Waterloo Video.
Oh my gosh. Okay, fantastic. So ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, get ready to hear about Austin of the past, which is the Austin of the temporary, and the Austin of the now, and possibly the Austin of the future, with this great literary voice, with this brand new spankingly cool novel. Please give it up for Mary Pauline Lowry.
That was such a nice intro, thank you. So here I go. Just as my love for Brant Bitterbrush was not enough to keep us together, my appreciation for Waterloo Video, a true cultural institution, was not enough to keep the store open. Until today, I held great hope an establishment worthy of the location's storied history would take its place. Perhaps a tiny brew pub or vintage clothing store would move in. Even a funky greeting card stand would not have raised my ire, so long as a local store took over the space. As you know, that intersection of 6th Street and Lamar Boulevard has always been a bastion of quirky local culture and business. Book People, Whole Foods, which though now well on its way to becoming an international behemoth, was, not so very long ago, just a single tiny health food store. Waterloo Ice House, Waterloo Records, the intersection was a haven of everything truly and uniquely Austin. So as I pedal by on my 24-inch cruiser on my way to work, sweating in this boiling heat, whose only blessing is to keep every Californian on the planet from moving to this city, which was so recently a Shangri-La, I almost biked into the street when the new sign hanging over those once hallowed doors came into full view. Coming soon, Lululemon. Yes, it's true. A Lululemon store destined to sell overpriced workout gear to trophy wives whose sole job is to attend Pure Barre and to keep it tight will open in a space formerly occupied so well by Waterloo Video. Is this glorious town we live in selling its quirky, beautiful soul to the highest corporate bidder? It seems so. That store's arrival is a symbol of the sort of change that will price us all out of this town. Sure, I had the good luck to inherit $35,000 from my grandma and the good sense to use it as a down payment on my little house, but I can practically hear my property taxes growing as I write. And what about the artists and musicians and deli maids I hold dear? Where else would they go? If you look at a map of Texas, it's clear there is no other livable option.
Oh my gosh, you're breaking our hearts here. Oh my gosh. Yeah, you know, Mary, I don't know if you've been keeping up with the news, but like even just during, of course, this last this last hunkering down that we've been having, there've definitely been some casualties in the small business world. Vulcan Video, which people have been mentioning in the chat room, which is a bit of a church for me. Thread Guilds, the original Thread Guilds is closed on up, and oh gosh, yeah, it hurts. It hurts. The Jack in the Box at Lamar and Red River, that little
Starbucks
is a Starbucks now. I mean, well, fair enough. They're both chains.
and it's that, I mean, who eats a Jack in the Box? There's a reason it went away, but when I drove by with my sister and we saw it was gone, she was like, but it was like neither one of us had eaten there since 1993, so we couldn't we couldn't totally complain about that one, and yet we did.
Yes. I mean, there is sort of the thing about any town that you love, like it's just like your own house. So like, I think we had a hole in our floor in our house. I'm like, yeah, kids are gonna have to fix that hole. And the kids are like, oh, the hole, we love the hole. Like, how would you, it's a hole in the floor. And that's sometimes I think how we feel about Austin too. Well, that's great, man. Gosh, I think you're gonna be, you're giving us the book, maybe the book exactly what we need right now. That's so exciting. So you're doing all these cool online things. Where's the next place? If people were like, oh my gosh, I want to catch what she's doing and see her taking over people's talks and ticks and stuff, where do they go to find out?
So tomorrow I'm going to be on Instagram taking over Pie Lady Books. And the Pie Lady she bakes gluten-free pies that are homages to book covers. So tomorrow she's going to post for Roxy Letters Pie. And she's been on Good Morning America a couple times, making pies that match their book club picks. But anyway, so I'm going to take over her stories tomorrow, sharing some of my TikTok videos, answering all y'all's questions about the Roxy Letters. And that's at Pie Lady Books, and I'll put it type it into the message board too.
That is great. And of course, we can get copies of your book from Bookwoman. You can order them right now. By the way, I think the title that we're taking from your reading, and you gave me so many good ones, but I particularly love this one as a possible title for the May 2nd, 2020 One-Page Salon, Funky Greeting Card.
Woohoo!
Funky Greeting Card, because what is tonight it's a funky greeting card that we're sending out into the world. We're opening it together. We're like, well, look at this. That is a funky. I didn't even know today was a holiday. Turns out it is. It's One-Page Salon Day. It's also my father's birthday, by the way. Dad, if you're watching, happy 79th. He doesn't probably want me to say he's turning 79, but he is, and hell of a guy. Okay, well, thank you so much, Mary. Really appreciate it, and good luck with the rest of your virtual book tour.
Oh, thank you so much. And thank you for having me. I'm so happy to be here supporting Bookwoman. It's done so much for me.
Oh, that's great. Okay, let's see. We are now, we're moving quite all the way, through the lineup of tonight. I hope you guys are enjoying yourself as much as I am. I'm actually having a hell of a time. It's just wonderful to hear all these voices, to see all the conversations happening in the chat, and just to be together and celebrate the wild and wonderful thing of narrative, even when it's dark and scary and full of twists and turns. It's just great to be together and be talking about stories. So let's hear from someone who makes stories happen in such a wonderful way. She's spent so much of her career highlighting and supporting writers in different kinds of ways. She's the head honcho at the Writers League of Texas. And there's a question that Richard asked. Let me ask that real quickly. Who signed the poster? Oh, the poster was signed by the writer Alan McElroy, who wrote Halloween 4. God bless him. Wrote it in 10 days because there was a Writers League strike. Hot damn, what a great movie, Halloween 4. One of my favorites. But now let's get back to the head honcho of Writers League of Texas, the person who said, let's make this tonight happen. She's always inspiring me, whether it's words that she's sharing, on thoughts she's sharing on something I'm writing, or in the way that she's encouraging writers, not just in Austin, but throughout Texas. Let's give it up for Becca Oliver.
What?
The book. You're the Bookwoman. Woo! Woo!
Hey, is Halloween 4 the one where he goes to outer space?
Oh, sweet. Why? I just said those nice things about you.
Or is that Jason who goes to outer space?
Jason goes to outer space.
Okay.
That's Jason. It's called Jason X. It's
yes.
the 10th Friday the 13th.
Yes. Yes.
The
Oh, I think I
Leprechaun.
saw Master Pancake, Jason X, actually. Did you guys do it like a few years ago?
We did. There was we mocked movies, and we did. There was a year when we realized there was enough weekends of Friday the 13th weekends that we could do all the movies.
Yes. Stacy
So-
Swan and I went to that. It was super fun.
I'm a fan of Jason X. It's a pretty good one.
It's a great movie, but you know how it would be better
Well, how?
if Michael was in it.
You
with
know,
him.
yeah, he's. You know, it's funny because Jason went to space. The Leprechaun went to space.
Oh, Stacy Swan's here. I just saw she popped up in the chat.
Hi, Stacey Swan. It was awful. Great. It's just. Are we talking about Jason X still?
It
Poor
was
Jason.
awful great, like together.
Just great. Just great.
Yeah.
Come on. Hellraiser does go to space. Thank you, Amy, for asking. Hellraiser, yeah, Pinhead goes to space. The Leprechaun goes to space. Jason went to space. Freddy's never gone to space, nor has Michael.
That we know of.
That we know of, right? Yeah,
Owen, how
Rebecca.
awesome. You're like, this is so much fun. And it's so hard. Initially, it was so hard to think of this event as, you know, being virtual and what it would be. But I'm just so happy to be here tonight and to be watching you with like your amazing energy. And just all of these readings that have been so amazing, like wonderful readings. And then to have folks come out and really support. You know, I had no idea, I think none of us had any idea what sort of money we would raise and what would happen there. But, you know, to raise $760 right? You guys did that though. I mean, $760 for Bookwoman.
Wow.
A treasure, and I think that's going to be really significant for them, and I'm so proud of all of us. So I can't thank you enough. And I'll just say that, you know, for the Writers League, since mid-March, really, we have been doing a lot of free events online. Our sole focus, I'm sick of the word pivot, but we pivoted to really focusing on doing as much as we could to keep bringing people together and keep community happening as much as we possibly could, and to just serve the writers out there who are looking for both inspiration and craft, but also just someone to say to them, it's okay if you're not writing right now. It's okay if you're, you know, it's okay if you're spending your days watching Netflix and not focusing on the work, because we don't, am I right that we don't care that Shakespeare wrote King Lear during the plague? Is anyone else sick of hearing about Shakespeare and King Lear during the plague?
What? Right? Was that what, like, so
or
much,
whatever
like,
the hell it was. I don't know. Richard III, I was telling people Romeo and Juliet because I felt like it was kind of fun that he would have written that during the plague. But the point is, you know, and so when, and so I want to just, I don't want to take a lot of time, but I want to say that, you know, Amy Gentry is such a remarkable treasure that we have here in Austin. But, you know, she sent out the word to a group that I'm on about Bookwoman and about some of the things that were happening with the store and how they really needed our help. And I sent her an email to say, hey, you know, do you want to talk about maybe doing an event? And she immediately said, yeah, let's get on the phone right now. And we talked, and then we thought, what is the best event that we could do right now that everybody's missing? Like, what's the event that we wish we had in our lives? And that's the Page Salon. And so then reaching out to you, Owen, and having you say something that I thought was really so just quintessential Owen, which was, you know, I've been sitting here thinking about what I can do for other people. Like, I've been sitting here trying to figure out a way to take this moment and give something back. And then immediately you loved the idea of bringing back the one page, but bringing it back not just to service everybody who's here tonight, all the people who are listening, and but to do two main things. And that was figure out how we could raise some money and impact somebody, a business or an entity of some sort, which we'll figure out for the next one who that'll be. And then also thinking about all the writers out there who have books that are publishing right now, who need support and who need people to know that their books are here, and who shouldn't feel anything other than excitement about supporting their books and talking about their books, even though we're in the middle of this crazy time. So that was our purpose. And so I thank Amy and Owen, because they really were instrumental in making this happen. And then I think the readers, because you guys have, I'm sure, look, you know, you don't have anything to do outside of your homes, obviously, but you have other things to do that you could have been doing tonight. And you jumped at the chance to also support Bookwoman and to be a part of this. So yeah, that's my stuff.
Well, yeah, Becca, I know that Amy can chime in too and say it, but I think we're just really thrilled in Texas to have you here. You make things happen, and there are books and stories that live in the world. Maybe as important as that, there are writers who live in the world that are because of you. So thanks, Becca.
I'm actually not in Texas. I'm in, I went to the Bahamas for this pandemic because I thought it would be just a safer place for everyone for me to be.
Yeah, cool. Yeah.
I'm just kidding. I'm on 49th and Duval.
Yeah, I know. I'm in your shed. Did I say my shed? I call it my shed. Technically, it's your shed, Becca.
Oh, boy. All right. Yeah.
Good word, by the way, Becca. Also, good word on like everyone giving themselves a hell of a big break on like not having to write or not having to write well. My gosh, I need to hear that all the time. Not only during a pandemic, but all my life, but especially during all this. That is a good word. But sometimes it's okay just to be. And that can be its own kind of challenge and its own kind of reward too.
Look, I am going to share this with you only.
No one else is listening.
Right. I am now addicted to solitaire. Like all I do is play solitaire. Like right now, I can't wait to start playing solitaire again. And it's not something I would recommend for anyone in a normal moment, but let me just tell you, like the hours slip by, guys. They slip by like sands in the hourglass. Like they are gone. I'm not playing solitaire right now. So yeah, you got to do what you got to do, buddy. That's what you got to do. So in One Page Salon tradition, we offered the opportunity to bring on a reader as a lottery pick. And I sort of lied to everybody and said I would text you if you were the winner, but actually, no, we're going to tell you right now if you're the winner. And if you're here, then you are going to be reading a page. So Owen.
Yes, we call this the BYOP, the Bring Your Own Page. And that means basically, because we know that in a community of readers, there's a community of writers as well, and so many of us have. So this is a brave move that someone is making. They've put their name, before we even started, they put the name in a lottery and say, yes, I'm willing to put my name in there, and then we're going to choose now. Hot damn, that's some brave stuff. So even if you don't get picked, I'm just impressed that you volunteered to not know whether you're going to be reading a page tonight and find out right now when Becca tells you. What do you need from me, Becca?
Well, I need a couple things. I think you're going to actually enable the person. We're going to promote them to panelist. Like one, yeah. We're going to have one person promoted to panelist. I'll do that though, right? Okay. Or do you know how to do that?
I probably best if you do that. Yes.
Okay, I'll do it.
I am known as an enabler, but it's a different.
So I want you to pick a number just totally randomly between 1 and 6.
I'm going to choose 4.
Of course you are. I should have seen that coming.
Yeah.
All right. So if you are here when I say your name, announce yourself in the chat box so that, no, it's not Amy Gentry.
That would be great.
That would be awesome though. No, we are going to be hearing tonight, if he is with us, Doug Carlisle. Are you here, Doug Carlisle? Let's see.
Let's see if Doug Carlisle is here. Right now, maybe
Come on,
Doug's
Doug.
like, he's in
All
his,
panelists and attendees, send it to everybody, Doug.
he's freaking out. He's like, oh, where's the chat? How do I respond?
He just dropped off the webinar. All right, we're gonna give you a couple more seconds. He's putting his shirt on.
Sure. And that's all. You don't need anything else, Doug. Trust me, there's nothing. Well, I mean, there's something, but there's no clothing below. This suit ends here.
This is probably more information than you need, but I had forgotten how hard it is to put a bra on until today.
I had this conversation with Jody. She told, it was a whole thing. She's like, well, yeah, I mean, I haven't put on a bra in 10 days. I'm like, well, that's great. And she's like, no, you don't go out without a bra. And I was like, I don't understand why. It was.
Let me tell you, it's not like riding a bike. You got to really remind yourself how to do that. Okay, so Doug's not here, so we're gonna pick the next one. Go for all the other numbers between 1 and 6 except 4.
Okay. Well, let's see. My favorite of the sequels of the Friday the 13th, outside of 4, is 6. I really like 6, so I'll choose 6, part 6.
Okay, we're trying again. Shelley Pernot or Pernot, but I think it's Pernot because I'm going with the French pronunciation. Shelley, P-E-R-N-O-T. Are you here with us? Shelley.
Shelley Pernot.
Shelley
Pernot. It's your time, ready to go. You're reading online, you're thrilling the room. You're in your house, but you're also on Zoom. Shelley. Oh.
All right. If we don't get any of these people, you're reading Amy Gentry. So get ready.
That's great.
Just get ready. Okay. Next number.
Okay. This is okay. So we're gonna go. If we don't have Shelley, then we're gonna go for my favorite sequel of the Star Trek universe, which is Wrath of Khan, obviously, which is number 2. So 2.
Such a good one.
Yes.
Such a good one. Ricardo Montalban.
Oh.
Johnny Hilbun. Are you with us, Johnny? Did you stick around? Or were you a class act? Did you stay this long?
We chose 2. We didn't choose 1, but we chose Johnny Hilbun. Yeah.
We're gonna figure out a different way to do this lottery next time.
Did all these people? Did they all leave? Did I forget to mention?
No, we have a good crowd. We have a good crowd, Owen. We have if we were in the north door, one would say we were a full house.
Okay.
But unfortunately, some people put their names in and just didn't show.
I see. Okay. All
so
right. Well,
Lindsay's really enjoying this song. I should say thank you to Lindsay. She is our intern at the Writers League of Texas. She is killing it. And so let's just, John Pipkin, doesn't even have a chair. John Pipkin doesn't even have a chair. That's how standing.
Spoiler, by the way, John Pipkin is reading at next month's One Page Salon.
Oh, so, is he?
Yes,
okay.
He is.
Well, I think we've really set the bar high with this one.
All right, I'm choosing number 2. No, I would have chosen number 2. I'm choosing the only Halloween film that doesn't have Michael Myers, Halloween 3.
First of all, that's impossible because Michael Myers is the core of the Halloween saga.
Are you clowning? Are you clowning me? Halloween 3, no Michael Myers. It's masks, it's Stonehenge, it's snakes coming out of kids' heads.
Jess Hageman, are you still here? Because I saw you earlier. Jess, are you here? Yay, Jess is here. All right, I'm promoting you to panelist, Jess. You have put us out of the misery of everyone having to listen to Owen and I bantering. Do you want to come up with one more song, Owen?
For Jess Hageman?
Yeah.
Oh, yes. Well, you wanted more, but you never get less when you're hanging out with a girl named Jess. You're like her, you can say pretty please. Have you read her novel? It's called A Head Cheese. Head Cheese. Head Cheese. Hi, Jess.
That was awesome, Owen. Thank you.
You're welcome. I think I'm trying to look and see if I have head cheese behind me. right now. It might be inside.
It should be in your fridge.
You're right. You know, it's been an interesting time. We're looking at your back shelves now and the books that you have. And of course, that has been a discussion of like the shelves and the books that they have behind them. And I don't know if you saw, but that Amy Poehler, she did a thing, and behind her, she had Time Zero by Carolyn Cogan, the local writer here. So this writer was like watching Amy Poehler and like, what's that book? Oh my God, that's my book. And then woke up and the New York Times was talking about her book. That's super cool. All that to say, I'm really disappointed that none of you have my book behind you on the shelf. I've been looking, so it's too late, Amy. I see you.
I keep your book in the bathroom.
Well, there's been a shortage of toilet paper in the nation, so you do what you can.
But in the other room, Owen, this is all nonfiction. You write a nonfiction book and get on my shelf.
Okay, I'll do that. I'm on that. That's right. And Carolyn is a Yellowbird client. Thanks, Brandon, that's right. Yeah, it's great. It's just great to see Austin writers out there in the world. Jess, I'm so glad to see you. How are you?
Thanks, Owen. I'm doing well.
Jess, I'm right that you just got married too, right? You're recently married.
Yes, last month over Zoom.
Over Zoom? You got married over Zoom?
Yes, with the judge and the family all in our little boxes on the screen.
Oh my gosh. Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
Wow, what a strange honeymoon.
Well, yeah, it's just been quite extended here at home.
Yeah. Jess, as you know, I'm a big fan of your writing, and your novel Head Cheese was so damn good. And I know you've done a bunch of different cool writing as a ghostwriter and as your own writer, and you've got a cool eye for like horror and weirdness and just cool characters.
Thanks.
Let's go ahead and do your 3 questions.
Okay.
So 3 questions. And then after you, we've just got one more reader, I think, tonight. So first question, Jess, are you a rereader? And if so, what was the last thing you reread?
The last thing I reread was, of course, The Golden Compass in preparation for the HBO show coming out.
Yeah, you read the whole series?
I read the trilogy.
The whole trilogy, yeah.
Yes.
Wow, okay. That was good. How was that to reread? Was that good?
You know, it holds up. I still had such strong emotional memories from reading that in middle school that it really just took me right back there in a good way.
Yeah, I love those books so much. Okay, next one is, what is one new skill that you've developed in this time of quarantine, besides getting married as a skill?
Yes. Well, we already love to garden in the backyard, but put in a new bed just in case when everybody started hoarding food and things were getting crazy. We just decided to grow more and be more self-sufficient. So that's been really fun.
You put in a whole nother garden bed.
Yeah.
And like, is that like is there a length that means garden bed, or is it just an extent?
Oh, well, they could be any shape or size. We opted for 4x8.
Okay.
4 foot by 8 foot.
Mm-hmm. And what are you growing?
Lots of things: tomatoes, onions, watermelon, zucchini, green beans, peas.
Wow. Okay. My
Good
gosh.
stuff.
If we get you and Lisa, then we can have, salad and dessert. It's all taken care of. You guys can feed the literary community of Austin. Last question. If you could send a book to everyone in America today, what would that book be?
I just finished reading one of Kelly Link's short story collections, and I would buy all of her short story collections and then send them out at random. So you'd be surprised which one you got, because they're all worthy.
That is great. Can you tell me which Kelly Link book that you just finished or were just reading?
I can.
Yeah. We scared her off. What if she never comes back? Be like an Amy Gentry novel.
That one.
Oh, I haven't read that one yet.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, especially the opening story. I don't always like short stories because sometimes they're like so good and then the next one's not so good, and then it's a little harder to continue on in the book, but this one really held up all the way through.
Okay, that's super cool. All right, yeah, Kelly Link, great suggestion. By the way, I want to say that Jessica's book, Head Cheese, you can also order from Bookwoman. that is a great place to grab it. What are you going to be reading from tonight?
I have a new novel in progress that's about a sex cult in Austin.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's also loosely based on the life of Marie Antoinette, the Queen of France, but set in present day.
Oh.
So our main character is Mary Tony for Marie Antoinette.
Wow. Okay. That's great. How far? I mean, is this? Are we going to be reading this soon?
Oh, I don't know. I'm about 60,000 words into the dump onto the page. Then it still has to be cleaned up. So we'll see.
Jessica, there's been a bit of confusion. Is it sex cult or sex cult, as in baby horse?
Ah, definitely with a U, C-U-L-T.
Yeah, that's cool. I'm into both. So, I mean, there's no, I think there's room for both in a person's life. So that sounds great. So that's what you're going to read to us tonight?
Yes.
Okay. Kids have to leave the shed.
This is a PG selection.
Kids, come back in. It's sex cult. It's cool. All right. Well, super excited to hear this. Thank you so much for being willing to be so brave of coming to this Zoom reading. You've got all these different people out there, and you were just there in the waiting, and I really appreciate it. I'm such a big fan of you and your writing, so I'm excited to hear this. Ladies and gentlemen, go ahead and make a whistling noise. Like a whistling high-pitched noise. It doesn't matter. You can hum. You can make sounds. You don't know, but right now, all of you are harmonizing. You're harmonizing with 200 people in different rooms. You're making a sound. It's just that only the angels can hear it, and they're excited too because we're going to get to hear from Jessica Hageman. Go, Jessica.
Thanks, Owen. On the big day, Mary Tony brought him to my workroom, just a closet with a window, really, on the second floor of the building. The window looked out into a tree, and there were doves cooing in this tree. Well, one look at my shiny silver scissors, and Charlie quailed. He did not want to sit in that chair. Mary Tony distracted him by pointing out the birds. Look, Charlie, your favorite. But Charlie didn't care. He could see the scissors reflected in the mirror, and he knew they cut, and he knew that cuts hurt. Charlie slumped and tried to slide out of the chair. His face crumpled. He started to cry. Oh, Charlie, 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 Mary Tony cooed. I know what you want, Charlie. She reached into the satchel she always wore across one shoulder and retrieved a blue lump of modeling clay. Immediately, Charlie's eyes lit up. He smiled through his tears and reached for the clay. He sat docilely while I combed, then cut his hair. Did you want to keep any? I asked Mary Tony, holding a longer clump at the base of Charlie's neck, where the hair was still curly and fine. If you don't mind, I was thinking of putting it in a locket for King Louis. Here you go, then. I handed her several dozen strands. She took them, then returned her adoring gaze to Charlie in the mirror. Isn't he the handsomest? The handsomest, ma'am, I agreed. A very fine heir to the throne. And so talented. I realized she was watching Charlie, who hadn't said a word since being pacified or squirmed in the slightest, work the clay. I peered over his shoulder, and what do you know? He'd molded the damn clay into two plump birds, their necks as regal and their plumage as thick as the doves outside the window. Hey, I said, impressed. That's pretty good. Wait until he brings them to life. Huh? I looked up from the boy's crown to make sure I'd understood her correctly. Just watch, she reiterated. I noticed then how Charlie kept flicking his eyes toward the bird's reflection in the mirror, then back to the clay for some minor adjustments, then back to the mirror. He seemed to be whispering while he did so, or maybe singing a little song. What's that now? I bent lower to hear him. When I did, a bird flew into my face, a dove as real as any other and rattled at finding itself so, except that it was cornflower blue, like Mary Tony's lump of modeling clay. I jumped back and swatted at the thing. My scissors accidentally clipped its leg. One scaly pink foot fell to the floor, while the bird squawked and hopped dramatically on its remaining good foot. Shit, I said, unsure what I was reacting to. The sudden appearance of a live bird in a little boy's lap, or the fact that I just maimed it. With every hop, the dove left a spot of blood on Charlie's shorts. Shit, I said again. I'm sorry, Charlie. I didn't mean to.
Jessica, that was fantastic.
Thank you.
Yeah. And okay, let's see. Hang on. Hang on. I almost removed you from the meeting. I don't want to do that. Goodness gracious, wouldn't that have been upsetting if all of a sudden it's like, Jessica, click, and you're just gone. Like, what happened? Hang on. Let me just changing up this spotlight video. There we go. All right. Yeah, Jessica, that was fantastic. Gosh. And so you're 60,000 words into it right now, yes?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm super excited. And for those who are excited by that, I think you will be equally in love with Jessica's novel, Head Cheese. It's really beautiful, both the prose and the illustrations. And yeah, that's fantastic. Thank you, Jessica. Thank you so much for reading.
Yeah, thanks for organizing this event.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so we are down. Oh, by the way, for Jessica's title that she gave, the possible title, and we'll go through all these and then we'll have a vote. Possible title for May 2nd, 2020, One Page Salon. I chose Work the Clay. I chose Work the Clay as a possible one. I think maybe it's because I'm kind of feeling that my life is kind of clay. My prose and my writing is definitely clay. And all I can do sometimes is just get in there and work the clay. And sometimes I have nothing but a different shaped lump of clay by the end of the day, and my hands are dirty. But that feels like maybe an appropriate title for our current state.
I love it.
Okay, so it's time for our final reader of the night. Thank you guys so much. I hope you guys have been enjoying yourself. Really excited. I'm also, it turns out, I think a lot of the readers tonight are fan folks of this next writer. Her books are always wild. Her stories are always incredible, and her prose is just infectious. It gets into your brain and under your skin, and I think it makes you think in a more beautiful way. She is also a Guggenheim Fellow. She's been a finalist for the National Book Circle Book Award. She's won like a bunch of pushcarts, I believe. And her new book, of course, is Barn 8 right now. Please give it up for Deb Olien-Unfer. Hi, Deb.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. It's really good to see you. How is life with you?
Wait, I can't see you. Can you see me?
Yes, I'm actually in your house. No, that's disturbing. Let's see. I think I'm seeing. Can people see? Can everyone see her? Can you guys see her? There we go. Okay. So Deb, can you not see? It's okay. You don't need to see me. What's important is that people can see you. That's what's important right now. Deb, you have, by the way, as a compliment to your house behind you. I love books that are on the floor or stacked in places besides bookshelves. I love bookshelves, but I don't choose to do it, but I find I'm always stacking books around. I see Mary's got books behind her as well. I don't know, I just feel comfortable with books. And I see that you've got beautiful bookshelves, but then also down by the door behind you, you've got a stack of books as well.
I do, and I have a stack of books under the table here that I'm sitting at, and over here, and down here. I do.
Yeah, books just make me comfortable. They're just like I cuddle with books. They're definitely my teddy bears. Well, Deb, congratulations on your novel. People are just ecstatic about it. How has been the touring and promoting while in this time of quarantine?
I mean, it's been okay. You know, just like everyone else is reading tonight, almost all my events got canceled. I got to do one event at Book People, which was fantastic. And but other than that, yeah, I didn't get to do any events. But I've been doing a lot of these kinds of things, and it's been really lovely. The thing that's been really nice about it is people from lives that I'd nearly forgotten I ever had have been popping up at these things. Like I had a woman who I met in Nicaragua, and she and I went to Cuba together in like 1999. And she popped up in one of these things. I mean, it was just this crazy thing that we did. We like ran away to Cuba together. And I hadn't seen her in all this time, and there she was. And during the event, she kept like picking up she had had children since, and she was picking them up and holding them so I could see them, you know, even though I was reading. And then she picked up her dog and showed me her dog. And then she like showed me, you know, her garden. Like it was this crazy thing. And let me see who else. There's just been all kinds of people who have popped up who I never would have imagined. I'm sure that other people have been having a similar experience.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, that's really sweet. That is kind of one of the sort of sweet parts of this, is the way that you kind of find yourself reconnecting and even like seeing, like reconnecting, you know, not just like a Facebook update or something like that, but you're seeing face to face someone that you haven't seen in years and years. Yeah, that's been a sweet aspect. Deb, are you ready for your 3 questions?
Oh yeah.
Okay, cool. Okay, first question, are you a rereader? And if so, what was the last thing that you reread?
All right, so the funny thing is that I had picked up this book, another Kelly Link.
Yeah.
So she's so amazing. She's so inspiring and interesting and smart and just weird. Like she just goes for it, you know. She's just gonna bring it on, and I really appreciate that. And I appreciate you when, you know, you go like all like Oompa Loompa on us. It's amazing. So it's great, you know. So and she does that too. So yeah.
Yeah. Oh, it's great. Oh, I'm so glad again that Kelly Link, you know, and also Small Bear Press, that Kelly Link and her husband founded. What a beautiful, like, wild collection of books they've put out. And yeah. So after you've gotten all the different readers that you've heard tonight from Bookwoman, get some Kelly Link as well. Yeah, that is good. And, all right, next question. What is one new skill you've learned during quarantine?
Nothing. Zoom is basically the only thing. Anything else, I have not. My sister has 3 children, and so she's like, man, if I didn't have any children, I would be learning new languages, I would be learning calculus, I would learn astronomy, like all these things. I've done nothing. I haven't even been watching TV. I don't know what I've been doing, honestly. So
did you find, like, I don't know, I found like April, like, and someone was telling me April was over. I was like, what do you, it's been a week. April's been a week. And not a very productive week. Like, did you find that it's just like weird how time is sort of like warped?
No, I haven't had that experience either. It's been really slow for me. I don't know. I've been keeping really detailed numbers on, like, I could tell you how many cases there were in Travis County on March 9th or whatever, and yesterday, and how many times. I don't know. I've been obsessing.
Yeah.
What can I say?
Yeah. I think a lot of us have been, and it sounds like you're obsessing on facts, which is a good thing to obsess on. I sometimes obsess in anger and rage, and that's probably less healthy.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I mean, because facts, you're like, if you can get them all down, you can control them, and you can hold them up and be like, see, look what's happening, do something. So yeah, most certainly. All right, so last question, Deb. So if you could send one book to everyone in America right now, what would it be? It would be this one, Barracoon by Zora Neale Hurston.
Yeah.
It's so great. I mean, this is the one that, you know, this one, she just put it out. Well, she didn't put it out, but her, what is the word? Her estate, right? Her estate put out this incredibly, absolutely beautiful, what it is it's the story. She went to interview the last man who had been brought over here as cargo. Yeah. At the you know, in like she interviewed him in, it must have been in like the 1930s. Yeah, right. And it's so amazing. It has her voice, it has his voice, it's got pictures. It's incredible. You have to read it. Like, it's the best read right now. Like, it's such a story of humanity and just grief and triumph, and it's just all Zora all the time. So
okay, that is great. It's funny, I've been thinking about Zora. I've been reading about Zora Neale Hurston and her relationship with Langston Hughes, which is a really interesting relationship. They co-wrote a play together and then they broke up, and that's its own interesting story. So she's been on my mind a lot recently, but I haven't read that yet.
Yeah, it's a good one, and it's not very long. It's a fast read. So
Okay, all right, that's great. And you know where you can get that, Deb? Do you know if you wanted to go buy that book? Do you know where to go?
I have no idea. Maybe Bookwoman?
Oh my gosh, I was thinking the same thing, Deb, as you were thinking. Bookwoman. That's amazing. Okay, so you can get that book from Bookwoman. Not signed, unfortunately. Can't get that one signed. And yes, thank you, Amy, to point out that Bookwoman has curbside pickup, which is fantastic. So yeah, definitely check that out. So Deb, what are you going to be reading to us tonight?
I'm going to read a page from a new story. I've been working on some science fiction, and I'm just going to read a page from one of those stories.
Oh, that's great. Oh, let's see. I think Deb, you froze up. Is anyone else seeing Deb frozen? Okay, we'll wait for, maybe this is the story. Maybe it's about the future freezing. It's an interesting time to freeze right before she was about to read. That is, a lot of writers are nervous about reading in public and they freeze up. This is, this can be a difficult thing. Let's see, Deb. Can you, if anyone else can see Deb moving, wave at me now. Okay, I was just checking. Let's see. What if Deb now unfreezes and she goes, and that's the story. That'd be great. Uh-oh. Let's see, Deb has slipped away. Okay, so I'm sure we'll get there. So in a minute, Deb will jump back in. Actually, it's kind of amazing, to tell you the truth, that's been the only big technical glitch that I've been aware of all night. So I've been very impressed. You know why? Because if anything, writers are known for being technically savvy. That's what writers are known for.
You've actually, you've been on mute this entire time, Owen. Like, we haven't been able to hear you.
Well, no wonder it's been a successful show. That makes a lot of sense. Well, let's see. While we're waiting for Deb to come back in, let's get Mary and Amy and Richard, just hop on back in. I just want to hear how you guys are enjoying this evening.
It's been going super well. It's amazing. No one else has had their hands stuck in a blender so far. As someone mentioned that movie. Are you taking notes for our screenplay, Owen?
I am.
Our Zoom screenplay.
Someone also complimented my suit, which is very nice. It is I am in a shed outside. Which doesn't have air conditioning. And I am partially lit by candles.
Really? This has been candlelight the whole time?
Oh, I've got a couple of lamps out here too, but I was realizing I just needed some. Oh, Deb's back!
Just in time, Deb. We were hearing all about Owen's candlelight in his man shed.
Guys, I'm so sorry. Actually, for some reason, if I'm on Zoom for too long, it just crashes, and I forgot about that.
Well, Deb, it now says
turn it off for a little while.
It now also says that you're Richard Santos on your name, which I knew Richard was writing under different names.
I have the book. I can read the page.
Okay, you guys, I'm sorry. I can't believe anyone's still here.
Oh my goodness. Are you kidding? We're waiting to hear from you, friend.
Yeah.
Okay, here I go.
Deb, also, I just want to say, I think you just gave us a beautiful lesson, an object lesson in building suspense. It's like you tease the reader. You say there's going to be something, and then you just end that chapter and freeze. And that's what you've done. So I think we've all learned the lesson.
It's really funny. Okay, it's a sci-fi story, and the story is called The White People.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, put your hearts, your hands, your heads, make them all make noise and make a joyful noise before the writer. We give you Deb Oline Ernfurth.
Okay. Yes, the week the white people had arrived, a tremendous amount of seaweed had washed ashore. 200,000 times more than normal. So much it gathered at the shoreline and stretched all the way around the island. You'd have to traverse a field of it to reach the water. The white people, uh-oh, please don't crash. Don't crash. Oh, no, it's okay. The white people felt hemmed in, trapped. Even if they made it over the wet, smelly seaweed to the water, the waves were full of more of it, bringing it in, and the seaweed got tangled in their ankles and stuck to their bellies. And it stank, all of it. And soon the whole island stank. The white people sat at their meals, wrinkling their faces and refusing to eat. The company brought in a robot to clean it up, sift the seaweed under the sand in hopes that it would blend in underneath, but there was too much. The robot finally just piled the seaweed into giant mounds along the beach. For days, the racket of the buzzing robot filled the air. Meanwhile, the tide brought in more seaweed. Each morning, a fresh field of smelly seaweed lay across the beach, glistening bright green. That first week had been a catastrophe. The white people hid in their rooms. Then the rain came, and it went on for days. It drenched the whole island, and the smell became so bad, the white people gagged as they walked along the path. All their clothes were soaked and hanging in their rooms, growing mildew. The company posted an announcement saying, the seaweed did not indicate anything unusually untoward happening on the other side of the world, but was merely the destruction of the oceans, which they had all known was upon them. The company planned evening activities to distract them. First, there was a sing-along, which was a terrible idea, and afterward, the white people didn't trust the company to come up with anything fun. The next night, they showed a movie that only 4 people showed up for. After that, the company just put out bottles of rum. That had been the second week. Not a great start. That's it.
That is great. Deb, so is that something you've been writing recently? When you said there's a new short story?
Yeah, it is. It's a new story. You know, we'll just see what happens. It's about this island where the very last white people on Earth have been brought. This company is owned by white people, presumably want to try to get them to copulate because they're the last remaining white people, and they're like they think that the white people should be saved. So I don't know, sort of funny. I thought it was funny.
Yeah, very much so.
I don't know, maybe it won't be. We'll see.
Yeah, I think, don't worry, it's funny. Yeah. Yeah, but it is also, as Amy says, it was chilling and funny. Yeah, I'm looking forward to reading the rest of that story. That sounds great. Deb, thank you so much for joining us. So appreciate it. We're a big fan, and it was really great to hear you read.
Thank you.
Okay, so now that brings us to basically the end of the evening. So let's see, we've got a few things to say. First, what I'm going to do is I'm going to read the possible titles of tonight's one-page salon, the possible titles of May 2nd, 2020 one-page salon. And then I think Becca and Amy might say a couple of words as people can vote basically online. They can vote in that chat room. Just throw it out. It's going to be very democratic. You can just vote as many times as you want, and we'll figure it out. We'll choose. We'll let Amy choose. Amy will see the different titles, and Amy will choose one that she seems popping up in chats enough. So let me go ahead and read them out. I took scrupulous notes because I'm very organized. I'm a very clean thinking person. Okay, so tonight might be called in no particular order. It might be called Funky Greeting Card. It might be called His Brother's Call. It might be called Snake in My Gut. It might be called Also I Love You. It might be called Work the Clay, or it might be called Glistening Bright Green. What are you feeling tonight to recall? We birthed the baby together, people. This has been a wonderful labor. It actually, as far as labor goes, relatively quickly. And only one technical glitch, which is good. Now we get to name this baby. We're christening our child. What are we naming it? I'm seeing, while we're waiting, I'll be looking at this. Let's hear some final thoughts from Amy Gentry and Becca. Amy, take it away.
Sure thing, Owen. I just wanted to say thank you so much. This evening has been so, I don't know, my heart is very full. I feel really inspired by all the readers that have read tonight and just by the general love in the room, you know. I also am, I feel really excited about what's going on with the One Page Salon and where you're going with it. It's just going to be so cool to watch. Also, just another word about Bookwoman. Hearing Mary Pauline Lowry's selection especially sent a chill through me and a tear dropping from my eye. I think we are living through a really rough time for Austin businesses, and we're all, you know, taking a lot of hits emotionally, but it's just a reminder to save the things you love. When you love something, let them know. Don't let it go if you possibly can without a fight. So anyway, you know what, Bookwoman, few things Bookwoman has in stock these days: puzzles, children's books, cookbooks, coloring and activity books, and you can also order that or anything else through the bookstore. I've actually been kind of putting in a regular or semi-regular order and then just kind of going by to pick up every once in a while and just to see a friendly face and a friendly place. So it's a nice little treat for me, and it's definitely helping them keep their doors open. Thank you all so much for your support already and for coming out. This has been an awesome night, and thank you, Owen and Becca, so much.
Thanks, Amy. Becca, do you have some words to add?
Not really.
Oh.
I just want to say thank you to everyone who came out tonight. I think that we're all sort of still, you know, finding our new normal, and to spend this kind of evening with you has been a real treat. And thank you so much for taking the time. And there's so many great friends that I see on the chat and people that I look forward to getting to know better for as long as we're either virtual or in person one day soon. So thank you. And then another big thank you to our readers. What an amazing group of people, and you guys just gave your time, and also I think are just genius writers who were lucky to have spent a little bit of time hearing from tonight. And then finally, Amy and Owen, you did it. Like, Owen Egerton, the energy you have and the ability you have to keep us all just engaged and excited, and you're awesome. And I know, and you're gonna poop a lot tonight, I know, from all the stuff you've been drinking, but you are fabulous. And also thank you to your family for giving you to us for these periods of time, because I know you've been doing a lot since all of this started. So to you and to Amy, I want to do this with you every month, so please let me.
Well, let's do that. So, I mean, I think you guys look at really quickly. I think it's pretty clear which one of the winners for the title is for tonight. But I got to say, like, thank you guys to all our different readers and presenters tonight. If you're at home, just go ahead and let your soul applaud for, you know, Amy Gentry and Becca Oliver for putting this together. Amanda Eyre Ward, Lisa Olstein and her book Pain Studies sounds so amazing. Mary Pauline Lowry, Richard Santos, Deb Olin. Unferth, who I called Earthworm, someone told me, but I don't think I did. And of course, Jessica Hageman, too, for joining us as our surprise winner of Bring Your Own Page. And boy, man, if you're out there, find that stuff that's feeding your soul. You know, find that stuff that is inspiring you, whether it's books or something online or poetry or silence. Make sure that you're feeding yourself what yourself needs right now. It's just as important as what you're creating. It's just as important as what you're eating. It's just as important as how you're spending your hours, is finding some of these essentials of beauty, and that's what we're trying to make in our stories, and that's what we're trying to celebrate at events like this. We're going to try and be doing this definitely next month, the first Saturday of next month, so join us again. Do let us know how we can improve. What do you think, Amy, Becca?
Yeah.
What do you think the title for me tonight? What do you think?
I think it's pretty clear.
Oh, Also I Love You. Yes.
Also I Love You.
Also I Love You is the title. And hot damn, what a great message. Yes, also I love you. I think that goes out for each and every one of us, to each and every one of you. We're just a big old, you know what, we're just in Jessica's sex cult. We're Jessica's sex cult online right here. And it's
Sex cult.
Yeah, Jessica's sex cult. I'm so glad to be in Jessica's sex cult with all of you. Have a great night, and we'll see you next time. Remember to go to Bookwoman, pick up a book by any of these great or all of these great writers and all the great recommendations, and keep reading, and we'll see you next month.
Yeah, take care, guys. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys. That was fun. Yeah.